And Dorian and Menon. Dorian and Menon. Oh my god, Dorian and Menon. Yes.
Hey everyone, it's Kelsey and welcome to Get Booked. So today I'm going to be filming a book discussion for Queen of Shadows. This video will be full of spoilers, obviously. It's a discussion, it's not a review, so if you haven't read this book, I highly advise going to read it and then coming back and watching it. First up, I loved Queen of Shadows. I thought it was brilliant. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was freaking awesome. These books just keep getting better and better because the world gets bigger, there's more characters develop more, we just learn so much more. And the books where they are now compared to how little we knew in the first 2 books is just phenomenal, and it's awesome and it's great and I love it. I was really cautious whenever I hopped onto the internet as soon as this book came out because I didn't want to know anything at all whatsoever. I went as far as to not even read the back of the book because I wanted to know nothing. And so as soon as I finished this, I just went on like this massive Queen of Shadows like rampage and watched every single frigging book discussion, read every review, not everything because that's just, who has time for that, but I watched a lot. And so I kind of got everyone else's thoughts and feelings on it, and it made me think more into my thoughts and feelings on it. So first of all, a lot of people seem to have an issue with the fact that Selena is no longer called Selena, but it's called Aelin, which I think that's how you pronounce it. And a lot of people thought that didn't make sense and that it was out of the blue. To me, I didn't think it was out of the blue at all because that's what I thought Heir of Fire was about. Selena finding herself and, you know, accepting who she was and who she should be. And finally, at the end of Heir of Fire, she was all like, oh, I'm gonna be queen. So I think it makes sense that she'd be called Aelin now because she was Aelin before she was Selena, and she was Selena longer, but she's still Aelin. So to me, I think it makes a lot of sense. That's kind of what I was sort of expecting anyway, but I feel like I'm just gonna keep calling her Selena anyway because I think we're all good. She's Selena to everyone. She has like 50 names. 50 freaking names. Moving on. I know a lot of people had an issue with Chaol. I know Chaol annoyed the crap out of me in this book. He annoyed me in Heir of Fire as well, but even more so in this book. In saying that, I don't mean that I was annoyed in the way in which Sarah J. Maas wrote him, but I was annoyed at just him. I think he made sense as a character. I know a lot of people thought he was out of character, but for me, I just, like, he is very different in these 2 books compared to the first 2 books. But I think that we see this, you know, great guy in the first 2 books, but the problems and the challenges that have arisen since these books in Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows, it's kind of just shown his true colors. That's how I see it. So I don't see him as being out of character. I see him as we're just getting to know him better. And I'm not liking him too much. I was massively Team Chaol, like so hardcore. He was the ultimate book boyfriend until Rowan. The scene where Selena first sees Chaol and Chaol stops and looks at her and he doesn't smile. And then it's the end of the chapter. Like, that broke my heart. Like, the feels that I felt in that moment were so real and just like, you know, that whole somebody used to know sort of thing and they had something and now it's like broken and I'm like, why? But at the same time, I'm Team Rowan. I think he makes sense because he's grown up in a world where magic was frowned upon and he's so loyal, and that's a pro but it's also a con because he's just loyal to the wrong people, obviously, like the king. I'm really glad that he finally decided to actually, you know, step up and do something about that and was helping the situation in this book. But the way he just blamed Selena for everything, and not everything's her fault, it can't be all her fault. And this whole, oh, you only want to save your kingdom. Well, it looks like you only want to save your kingdom. What the hell, dude? Like, you hypocrite?
You hypocrite?
You hypocrite.
Now, moving on to Rowan. I love Rowan. I think he is fantastic. Selena and Rowan together are just perfect. I really see them, like, they're soulmates. They're soulmates. And that's why I think that him and Selena are meant to be, because I think Chaol was really good for Selena in the first 2 books. I preferred him over Dorian just because he was a bit of a darker character. He'd gone through, you know, some darker stuff opposed to Dorian, and so I thought that he could understand Selena a bit better, and so that's why I thought Chaol was better than Dorian. But now, because Selena's been through even more stuff, she's surpassed Chaol, and now there's Rowan who does understand her and everything about her and she understands everything about him, and it just makes sense. If they had stayed just a platonic friendship and she had gone back and still been with Kale, I think that would have been really weird and really awkward. The kind of friendship that Selena and Rowan had, I don't think Kale would have been able to understand that and would take that to be like, you know, stepping in on my girl, go away. And it just would have been really weird and awkward. And another aspect that I really like about this whole series is the fact that Selena hasn't just met one guy and gone, I love you, I'm going to love you forever, and that's it. Because that's just not realistic. I love that, you know, first we had Sam, he died, hashtag RIP Sam. And then there was Dorian, who she had a bit of a crush on, then she realised she actually wanted Kale, and now she's in love with Rowan. She hasn't said love, but you know. It's beyond love. It's something, whatever's beyond love, that's what it is with Rowan. I know a lot of people are up in arms and they want Kale and Selena together and that's their like super OTP, but I like how she's just, as she's grown, she's changed guys, and that's like the most realistic relationships I've ever read, and it's in a fantasy series. Because most series, oh, girl meets the guy at the beginning and they fall in love and that's it from there. Like that's it. They're in love and they're going to be together forever. Maybe there might be a love triangle sometimes, but that's it. That's the only thing they ever know, and that's not realistic. People don't meet someone at 16 and then stay together forever. I mean, yeah, it happens occasionally and that's great, but more times than not, that doesn't happen. The awkward moment when I met my boyfriend at 16. But yeah, so I really like that she hasn't just stayed with one guy the whole time. I think it's very realistic. While we're talking about like shipping people and stuff, I totally ship Lysandra and Adian. Is that how you even pronounce his name, Adian? Sure, that's what it is. Lysandra and Adian.
Lysandrian? I don't know.
Oh, and Dorian and Manon. Dorian and Manon. Oh my god, Dorian and Manon. Yes. But I don't really ship Kale and Nezrin. I don't. I think they're really good together because I feel like Nezrin is just Selena. Kale was in love with Selena when he only knew Selena. And the moment he found out that she was Fae, that she was queen, he had issues with that. And like Dorian said, you can't just pick and choose parts to love about her. And that's very true. And so I feel like Nezrin is Selena without the Aelin part, which makes sense as to why he would like her. But I kind of feel like I just want him to like just wallow in it a little bit and kind of pine after Selena a bit longer. I don't want Selena to pine after Kale. I don't know why I want that. I'm cruel, I'm evil. I don't know, I don't want him to be happy. He can't be happy without Selena. Selena is like the bomb diggity. And also on top of that, I hate when series feel the need to have every single person paired off with someone. Why is this necessary? Mortal Instruments did it. Actually, I don't even know because I haven't read the last book, but it's gonna happen. Like, everybody's gonna be paired off. Infernal Devices, it doesn't need to happen. Life doesn't work that way. Not everything's perfect and fun and dandy, and perfect isn't interesting. So, but at the same time, I really want them to all be paired up because I like the cheesiness. I'm hard to please, clearly. Now, moving beyond all the relationships, because this story is so much more than that. Oberon's death. First of all, do I even say Oberon right? I don't know. I feel like I really kind of wanted him to end up being like a bit of a good guy. Good, bad guy sort of thing. I felt like his death should have been a little bit more dramatic. I actually thought something was going to go down just before he died, and he wasn't actually going to die. He's the king of assassins, and Lysandra was just able to slit his throat in the middle of his sleep. That I thought was a little bit weird. Speaking of Lysandra, I love Lysandra and Selena's friendship. I really need to start calling her Aelin. I love Lysandra and Aelin's friendship. I just love the banter between them, and I really like the girl friendships. It's her new Nehemia. Hashtag RIP Nehemia. And of course, I also loved Adian. I'm glad they finally met up and was able to know that each other is there. Speaking of meeting up, Aelin and Manon. I've been wanting this since Heir of Fire. When reading Heir of Fire, the first few chapters of Manon, I was like, what the hell's going on? Who is this? What? I don't like this. But once I got into it and started understanding how she played into the story, I started really liking her chapters, and I reread all the books except for Assassin's Blade just before this came out. And from the get-go, I loved Manon's chapters, and I loved them in this as well. It's also LD. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but we'll go with it. And yeah, and from Heir of Fire, I wanted Aelin and Manon to meet up because I could just see them being best friends, and while they're not best friends yet, I feel like it could be a potential thing that happens later on, because like I feel like they're like the same person but dealing with opposite things. Like on one hand you've got Selena, she's a good guy, she's an anti-hero because she's dealing with her demons, and then on the other hand there's Manon, she's an anti-villain and she's dealing with her angels, I guess. If Selena's dealing with her demons, Manon's dealing with her angels. Selena will have like a little demon on her shoulder telling her to like just kill that person, just burn the world. And then Manon, on the other hand, has a little angel on his shoulder saying, pick that wyvern, save that person, save the witches. And I just think that's a really interesting storyline, reading from someone who like is so evil but kind of having human qualities come out. I just think it's just, I love it. It's awesome. And I like that it hasn't happened super fast. We've had 2 books now and she's still not completely good. And I like that it wasn't just, you know, she snapped and was like, yeah, I'm good now. I feel like she still thinks she's evil, still thinks she's bad, but she's, you know, got the human qualities. I really like that. And I love the fighting scene between the 2 of them where they respected each other because they were both great fighters and they were both women, and I just thought that was awesome, and I want them to be best friends. Best friends. And I think Dorian will play a part in making her come out and be a good person. So I'm looking forward to that because I just ship them so hard. And is the king evil? Is he not? Is he, like, is it supposed to be a trick? I think that he is. He was good and he just had a Valg in him and made him do horrible things, which is really interesting, and that Duke Parrington is actually the head of the thing, the evilness that is this thing. Has anyone else realised that the king never has a name? At least I don't remember if he doesn't have a name. He's just always referred to as the king this, the king that. Doesn't have a name. Why? Like, has that got something to do with anything? Or am I just thinking too much into it? Or am I just being really forgetful and he does have a name and I'm just talking absolute crap right now? Who knows? Trying to think if I can think of anything else to say. I'll probably think of something after I turn the camera off, as always. I don't really talk too much about Dorian. Nothing much happened with Dorian. No, he just had a Valg Prince in him. That's nothing. Who doesn't have that every day? Thought it was really interesting reading from Dorian's perspective with the Valg Prince in him and him not knowing who he is. And it was really interesting when Manon was talking to him and the Valg Prince in him was like, oh, don't talk to her. The eyes. So the eyes have something to do with something, and I want to know what. I want to know what. Something I did think that was slightly out of character for Aelin was when, as soon as Dorian was brought up that he was possessed by the Valg Prince, she was just straight away, okay, we have to kill him, we have to behead him. And I thought that was a little bit weird. I feel as though she should have tried to think of, you know, a couple of ways to possibly save him, discuss them with Kale or whatever, and then come to the conclusion that the only way is to kill him. That would have been like her. But she was just straight off the bat, nah, we gotta kill him. Nah, kill him. And I just thought that was a little bit like, she's somebody that feels guilt very strongly. Like, even if it's something out of her hand, she'll still feel guilty for it. And so why would she just, no, we gotta kill him? Like, I don't know. That was probably the only out of character thing I would say happened in this book. Whereas a lot of other people think a lot of out of character things happened. I don't think so. One little thing that annoyed me with Rowan as well was when Rowan kept thinking that, oh, we can't be together because, you know, she's gonna be queen, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you can be together. You're just making crap up now. I don't like it when characters just make reasons not to be together to make tension and problems and drama for the sake of it. And when Selena first went to kiss him and he was like, no, don't touch me like that, and caused this drama that then there was this tension for the next few days. That really annoyed me because that to me is like a really teenagery thing to do, like just being dramatic for the sake of it. And Rowan is like a 300 and something year old Fae warrior, not a teenager. So why was he acting like that? That was, I thought, a little bit weird. But again, that's a small part, so whatever. But yes, so obviously overall I freaking loved this book, and that ending when they're finally in Terracin. Yes. Yes.
Selena, Aelin, Fireheart. Well, how do you say her last name? Gallinassus. All I can think of is Zach Gallinassus. I can't even say his last name. But the guy from The Hangover. I see that last name. I think of him every time. I can't help it. But yeah, she's all the names. Selena, Aelin, Lillian, Fireheart. There's another one, I swear. There's another one. No, Bitch Queen. That was awesome. It's raining books. Hallelujah, it's raining books. Wish it was raining books, that'd be great. Save a lot of money.
Yes, that is pretty much all I think I've got to say today. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I wrote notes, but they're crap notes. I'm not a note taker. I cannot take notes. I don't know how people do it. It's like a magic power or something, I swear. It's something so basic, and yet I can't do it. Just do it. I could not do that, sorry. Anyway, let me know what you thought of Queen of Shadows, if you agree with what I've had to say or if you disagree. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you next time. Bye! But yes, I just smacked myself in the face.